This edition of MacVoices is brought to you by Take Control Books. The answers you need now from leading experts. Learn more and download yours at takecontrolbooks.com. Welcome to MacVoices. This is the Talk of the Mac community. I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, the road to Macworld is almost over. We're almost there, and it's been a long time coming. But we didn't want to finish the intro to Macworld iWorld 2014 without talking to David Sparks, our buddy from Mac Power Users, and oh God, David, what else? Paperless and what? A bunch of Mac tips with Brett Terpstra, and I don't know. You just are everywhere.
I have I don't have a single unpublished thought.
Is that your secret?
I guess.
It
feels like it sometimes.
It comes in your head, comes right out of your fingers. I love it.
I have to get it out of my system, Chuck. I can't help myself.
Oh, David, it feels like it's been forever since I've seen you. We were talking pre-show. This extra 2 months is great for Macworld. It's great because it'll hopefully make everyone's travel easier. But boy, it seems to be an extra 2 months.
I've got the shakes, Chuck. I'm not, ashamed to admit it. I really miss Macworld. I have so much fun there every year.
Yeah. I miss all of our friends. I miss the show itself. I miss San Francisco. There's just I've realized that for a lot of people this sounds almost childish the way we all talk about it, but it really is the most fun I think all of us have all year.
I think for you and me, especially because we have jobs that are out in the other world.
Yeah,
we don't live in the Mac community 24/7. We have we both have kind of other gigs we do that don't involve this stuff. And I know for me, the ability to go for a week every year and just kind of leave all that other stuff behind me and just bask in my nerdiness. That's something that it's therapeutic for me. I really need it. I know it's like really cool for the people who do this every day to say, oh boy, it's so much work and I'm going to get sick and blah, blah, blah. I just don't care. I'm going to go and have so much fun.
Yeah. I've often said, you come home from Macworld iWorld exhausted, just completely physically exhausted, but just so emotionally recharged. And I don't know how else to express it.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So you're going to be very busy this time around. In fact, we have a lot of things to talk to you about. I guess the first one to start off, because Katie was already here, that you're going to do a Mac Power User session with Katie Floyd. Yeah,
our show is a lot of fun, but it's audio. And we thought it would be really cool to pick some of our favorite power user tricks and tips and build a show around that. So we're doing a whole session where we're picking some of the nerdiest stuff we do, and we're going to show everybody play by play how to do it on their own Macs. And iPads and iPhones and other stuff too, but primarily Macs.
So this session is going to be kind of heavy duty in the sense that it's not going to be something maybe for beginners. Is that fair?
No, totally. Beginners can do it too.
Okay.
This stuff is not that hard, and we're going to walk you through it. You're going to feel like you're a pro when you do it, but it's not going to be that hard.
Okay. Right.
I'm not that smart, Chuck. You got to remember that. So
yeah,
I'm at that lowest common denominator. So if you come see me, you'll probably, if I can figure it out, you can.
Okay. I've listened to your show, David. I'm not so sure I agree with that, but
I'm a power user. I'm not going to show people how to do a bash script to do something. It's going to be standard things that anybody that can turn on a Mac can do.
Okay, that's good.
Make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Can you tease us with maybe just one small example?
Oh, man. No, I can't.
Okay.
It's all secret.
It's all secret.
But it's so good. It's just so good.
In other words, Katie's writing it all up and you're just going to perform.
Oh, no, we've got a whole outline. It's going to be awesome. But it's going to be some of the stuff we've done on the show over the years, some of our favorites. But there's going to be some secret ones in there. And frankly, I'm not willing to share it, Chuck.
Okay, well, that's all right. That's all right.
You got to come. You got to come see it. You too, Chuck. You got to come to the show.
Oh, I know. That's been one of my traps this year, David, is everybody I've talked to, I want to come to their session.
I know. I've been listening. They all sound great.
Yeah, they really do. We'll never get to the show floor. So that's the first session with Katie, and that one is what's the title of that one?
Mac Power Users Workflows.
Okay, and when is that?
That is, I'm looking for it right now, that is going to be on Thursday the 27th at 3 p.m.
Great. Okay.
And it's session CF815.
And at this
in
point, I'm
room
sorry.
133. I even have the room number. I'm organized here. And Katie and I, that day, it's going to be a busy couple hours because at 1 p.m. we're going to be at the Drobo booth, and they're giving away a Drobo. If you show up and you're there for that hour, they're going to give away a Drobo to somebody. So you might get a Drobo that day too.
Yeah, that's a real live Drobo. That's that's cool.
You have to feed it when you get home and take care of it, but it's worth it.
It's absolutely worth it.
Yeah.
Okay, and at this point, folks, I want to remind everybody, when you get to the show, all our early coverage is great, but rooms shift. Sometimes even the times change. So be sure that you look at the signage to make sure that you don't miss any of the sessions you really want, including David and Katie's.
Yeah.
Okay, so
please.
So you have the Drobo booth, you have the Mac Power users workflows, but you're going to be doing a solo session on the paperless book.
Yeah, well, it's not really on the book. I'm not going to go there and tell everybody about the book. I'm going to share all my secrets. So just come watch the session. You'll learn it all. Paperless is really evolving. The book is now up to version 1.4, and kind of the underlying technologies have been getting better and better. And I wanted to do a session where I could kind of show people where we've come with paperless now, because if you want to go paperless, it's easier than ever now. And I'm going to show the favorite tools, some of the workflows, some more of those magic tricks that we do. And if you come to that session, I'm going to just walk you through the whole process. I'm even bringing a scanner, so I'm going to show you how I use the scanner at home. It's going to be fun.
David, that brings up an interesting point, I think, about a lot of the sessions, that just because you went to, let's say, a paperless session last year doesn't mean you don't want to go this year. Things have changed, and they're changing so fast in so many key areas. Paperless, as you said, is one of them. So I don't want people to overlook any session by any presenter that they might have been to last year. There's just a lot new and a lot happening.
Yeah, I actually looked at my because I did a paperless session 3 years ago for the American Bar Association. I've never done one for Macworld, and I thought, well, maybe I could use some of my prior slides. Nah, I had to nuke them all. It's because it's all changed so much. It's all different. Yeah,
because I've been doing that with my presentations. You look back and think none of it's not relevant anymore, but none of it really applies. Things have changed just in the space of a year.
Yeah, it's great though, because in the paperless world in particular, everything that used to be a little bit fiddly is now a lot easier, and things that used to be impossible are now possible. Like, for instance, one of the things I'm going to show people is you can have your Mac. You can scan in a document that's got a date on the front of it. It says Edison Bill March 18th, 2014, and you can have your Mac read that document, find the date inside of it, and then name the file with that date. You with me?
Yeah. And
that's something that was not possible a couple of years ago. Actually, probably not even a year ago. But now there's technology to do that, and it's very accessible to everybody.
Hazel?
You bet. Hazel's got some great upgrades.
I figured, yeah. I have to confess to you, I've heard you talk about it so much, I've not gotten into it. But things like that make me say, maybe I better.
You just put a piece of paper in your scanner, you push the button, the computer finds the date, names the file, figures out that it's a gas bill and gives it the appropriate name, and then files it for you. Your only interaction is to put the piece of paper in and push the blue button. That's pretty powerful.
Yeah, that really is. Now listen, I can't. You took me down that road, so I can't not go there. But let's say you have something like a credit card bill that has a lot of different dates in there for transactions. How do you address that issue?
It's going to pull the first date it finds. There's a way you can have it look for second or third dates, but usually on your credit card bill, the first date it's going to find is going to be the statement date, because the dates for the transactions are further down the page.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. Okay, well, see there. We squeezed one tip out of you, David.
I see your scanner behind you, Chuck.
You better believe it.
It's calling out to you. It's saying, Chuck, learn some of these tricks. I want to do those too.
I didn't say I don't know them all, David. I just said I squeezed one out of you.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. Now we have the paperless thing. And by the way, you said the paperless, the book, is up to version 1.4.
Yeah. It started out like 120 pages, and now I've lost track. It's over 200 pages now. It's it's growing.
Yeah. Well, now how are you versioning that? Are you just adding things, or do you go back and take things out that maybe are no longer?
Yeah, exactly. Things come in and things go out. I was kind of impressed with the service called Doo, which sought to be an online paperless source, like a paperless management and document system based online. And I wanted to give them a chance to make sure they were kind of a real deal, and that they just kept getting better and better. So I put them in version 1.4, and now they've given notice that they're shutting down. So when version 1.5 comes out, as an example, they'll be out of the book. Yeah. And then, like this new trick with Hazel, I did a whole new screencast for that, and the currently shipping version of the book, you can learn all about that. But I like the idea of making a book that's alive, that someone who buys it is able to, keep up with it.
Right.
For a certain amount of time, at least. At some point, I'm probably going to do a second edition, but at least for a while, I want my readers to know that they're going to have current information.
And that's so important in today's world because the information does go, I always hesitate to say out of date because that makes it sound like it's spoiled or, it's beyond the expiration date. But it just isn't as current as it could be. And
that's always been a challenge for technology. I mean, we're all in love with this stuff. And now if you looked at an iPhone with iOS 6 installed with it, you would say, oh, boy, that's an old book. Look at that iOS 6 stuff. Chuck, that was, what was that, 9 months ago? I mean, it's not that old.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, it's less than that. I think it's only like 6 months old now. So this stuff is, it moves fast.
Yeah, it really does. Well, so let's see, that's 2 sessions, one with Katie, one you're by yourself, and you and Katie in the Drobo booth. So that's 3 activities.
There's more. There's more, Chuck.
Yeah, I did a little checking up on you. So I guess the next one I want to touch on is you're going to do a rapid fire session.
Yeah, I've never done one before, and I have something very special in mind for my presentation.
Well, don't just sit there.
It's you got to go. It's going to be great. I hope I deliver. Now I've said it publicly. I need to deliver.
Well, can you give us a hint about what it's going to be about? I mean,
it does not involve me taking off my shirt, if that's what you're thinking.
Well, no, I definitely was not thinking that, David. But what I was thinking more is it going to be automation related? Is it going to be?
Chuck. Oh, okay. Well, see, you always get it out of me eventually, Chuck. So I'm doing a rapid fire session on the use of OPML files, which is a really great way to plan your writing projects. But the way I'm going to give the presentation is, I don't know if you know who Larry Lessig is. He's pretty well known.
Yeah.
If you've ever seen one of his presentations, he fires off slides like crazy, and it's just this great effect. And I've always wanted to do it, but it never made sense to me to try and build something that intricate for a 30-minute presentation. But for 5 minutes, I might be able to do something special with my presentation.
That's great. OPML, boy, I haven't really thought about that in a long time. So that should.
Oh, you gotta check it out.
Yeah, well, the rapid fire sessions are always great because if they're presenting something you're not interested in, wait 5 minutes and you get a new session.
Yeah.
And they do. I have to give them credit. They give you the hook.
I'm really thrilled that they included me on it, frankly.
This edition of MacVoices is brought to you by Take Control Books. The answers you need now from leading experts. Our friends at Take Control Books have been busy over the past few months, delivering lots of new titles, each one of them a study in effective analysis and training on whatever topic they focus on. I look at Take Control Books as a way to hire some of the best experts in the business to teach me what I need to know about programs like 1Password, iTunes, and LaunchBar, and topics like digital photos, online privacy, and going paperless. The training is concise, effective, and affordable, focusing on things I really need to know. It seems like program documentation has gone from the 300-page manual down to the barest essentials. Take Control Books bridge the gap, covering the features and topics that are important, and get you up and running quickly and efficiently. Even better, Take Control authors often engage online with their audiences. And don't forget that Take Control Books often offer an upgrade when updates or newer versions of the programs are released. All that is why I introduce you to every Take Control author about every book released, if at all possible. Authors like Joe Kissel, Michael E. Cohen, Tanya Angst, Sharon Zardetto, Kirk McElhearn, Jeff Carlson, and many more. They are all that important to your understanding of your tools and to your productivity in a competitive world. Visit Take Control Books now at takecontrolbooks.com. Find something you want to learn more about, and see if you don't agree that Take Control Books are among the best values in tech education. Take Control Books, the answers you need now from leading experts. Thanks to Take Control for their support of MacVoices.
Well, actually, the other one that I'm part of is really got me all at Twitter.
You mean the one on the Macworld stage?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought you meant. So, yeah. All right, so go ahead. I won't steal it from you. Go ahead.
I've been a massive fan of the Incomparable podcast since it began. I'm just a fanboy. That's all I can. I don't know how else to put it. I think those guys and gals are so funny, and just it's a great show. It's geek culture. It just pushes all my buttons, and I'm getting called up to the big show.
I am a little jealous.
I'm going to be on the Incomparable. I can't believe it. And what we're going to do is we're going to do, you know how they do drafts. I don't know if your listeners have heard the show before, but Jason Snell's brainchild, really. And they do all kinds of things, like some of their favorite books, and it might be science fiction or fantasy or movies. And they talk about all kinds of stuff that, as us geeks, are kind of interested in, and they do it in a really intelligent and fun way. But one of the things they love to do on that show, in fact, they really loved, is these drafts. So they'll have like a draft of, what's your favorite superhero or what's your favorite whatever, and everybody will take turns picking. And it's just really a lot of fun to listen to them. And like when they do a draft on books or something, I always end up reading 7 or 8 books as a result of it, because I learn about all this stuff. Well, this year at Macworld, they're going to do a draft, and I'm going to be in the draft, and we're all going to be picking our favorite computers.
Ooh, wow, that's interesting.
So I've been researching this. Yeah. So that's a Saturday at 12 o'clock. And it's on the Macworld stage. And so we'll be picking our favorite computer. So I've got a couple, I've got some Macs in there, and I've got some other outliers, some computers that, people may not remember, because I'm kind of an old guy. I used to use computers when you used a cassette drive to save your program.
Stone knives and bearskins, David?
You're laughing, but it's true.
Oh, I know. I was there.
I'm looking at your picture, Chuck. I bet you know about those computers, too.
I know about those computers, and that's a fascinating topic, and I've got to sit here and give it some thought, because I would have some favorites from the old days as well. That
I can't say anything.
No, I'm not going to try to force you in this one, but
I signed a blood oath. If I let my picks out, one of the other panelists is going to be listening to this esteemed podcast and going to steal them. So I gotta stay quiet.
Yeah, that's going to.
But if you're a geek and you like computers, at 12 o'clock on Saturday at the Macworld main stage, the Incomparable is going to do a live show, and we're all going to be picking some of our favorite computers, and I think it's going to be a blast.
Yeah, that's a really great topic, especially for anyone didn't just get into this in the last couple of years.
Or anyone at Macworld, really.
Yeah. But because there are going to be a lot of different perspectives there, and you know what, I'm right there with you. I'm a big fan of the Incomparable. Jason's talked about it on the show. I love it because, books, comic books, movies, but they just kind of go all over the map with geek culture, and this is just another example.
Yeah, those guys got me into the Doctor Who, because I never really got the Doctor Who bug, but now I'm watching that, so. I blame them for all of my lost productivity.
I will confess this on the show right now. David, they did the same thing to me. They kept talking about Doctor Who until it's like, all right, I'll go try it. And in fact, I was one of the ones that emailed Jason and said, all right, where do you start? And he did a blog post for several of us that were interested. And yeah, I'm still acquiring a taste for it, but I have to admit it's better than I thought it would be. So
yeah,
thanks,
so where
Jason.
Are you? Where did you start?
The 2005 series, and I've gotten through the first season of the 2005 series.
Yeah, I'm just a little bit behind. Yeah, I did the same thing. I'm only I think there's a couple episodes left, and then we're going to the next Doctor.
Yeah. It's I'm anxious to kind of have that transition and see just if I like it as much with it as much as the character evolves into different people. So. And see, now we're doing
that's weird. I'm not entirely sold on the first season's Doctor, but it's my first kind of exposure to it. But then, like during Christmas, I watched they had a Christmas special they did that was kind of a takeoff on A Christmas Carol. And it was with a different doctor, and I really liked that episode. I was wrapping presents. It totally got me in the mood. So I'm looking forward to a little bit brighter days. The first season Doctor hasn't really sunk in for me yet, but I also think you probably have to get some context for it, and I'm a newbie at all this stuff.
And I've found, and sorry, folks, we're off on a tangent, but I found myself having to get used to the effects. The effects are very much different. They're a very specific style. And especially for the 2005 series, obviously they were different, a lot older. So, but I'm starting to buy into it a little bit. So, yeah.
All right. I'm doing more sessions, though, Chuck. And one of the ones I'm really looking forward to is on Friday at 11:30. And that's when I get to be with a bunch of my Mac podcaster friends at the Mac Roundtable.
I almost forgot about that one.
Yeah. Well, how could you forget? You're the belle of the ball at that one.
What he means, folks, is I'm the moderator. I'm the one that's supposed to keep control of this group. Fat chance.
I love it every year. And to Chuck's listeners, if you haven't been to Macworld, you should watch Chuck deal with this group, because I think Chuck is the only person on the planet that could herd this set of cats that is a bunch of podcasters that all want, to yak at the mic about something, myself included, and Chuck always manages to keep it relevant and rein us in.
Well, you guys give me a lot of credit, and I appreciate it. But it's wonderful to have everybody there, and of course, for once, we're face to face. Whereas otherwise, we're everybody's trying to juggle schedules and connect, and we do it audio. And this way, we're face to face. We get to see each other, and of course, see the audience too. So the dynamic is completely different, and it's a whole lot of fun. And so I think, let's see, we have you and Katie, Don McAllister, Dave Hamilton, John F. Braun, Ken Ray, Adam Christensen, Allison Sheridan.
How could you forget Allison Sheridan, Chuck?
No, wow. I didn't. I just left her to last. No. But yeah, so it's going to be a great time. It really is.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. All of this is fun. And I've got a nice busy dance card over the 3 days of Macworld. And I'm going to enjoy every minute. I'm bringing my family with me this year too, Chuck.
Are they coming to the show, or are they just going to roam San Francisco?
I think mainly they're going to roam San Francisco, but they are, I have my wife and my 2 daughters, and they are fully invested in the app camp for girls. So my youngest daughter is going to be a participant. I don't know if you've talked to Gene yet about App Camp for Girls. I didn't see that in your feed. Did you do one of those shows?
Yeah. By the time this one goes live, Gene's will have gone out. So yes.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. If anybody listening is bringing their daughter to Macworld, this is a no-brainer on Saturday. Go teach her to be a programmer. I call it my retirement plan. That's why I'm with my daughter. But then my older daughter, she's in high school. She does a lot of video production. So she's going to be shooting video of the thing for Gene.
Oh, that's great.
And my wife is going to be handing out papers and just being generally helpful. I'm going to be there for a little bit, but that's actually a portion of that overlaps my my Incomparable session. So I'm going to be there at the beginning, but then head out for that. In fact, I think Jason Snell was telling me his daughter is going to do it as well. So I think it's going to be a blast to get these girls involved in computing and programming.
I agree, and if I remember correctly, Chris Breen said he's going to have his daughter's going to be there too. So
awesome!
I think any of the folks that we all know that have daughters are going to be there. And Gene has said that for this session, obviously boys are welcome too, as long as they're well behaved. If I remember her comment correctly. But David, I think it's a labor of love and passion for Gene, but it's really so important. Some of the stories you hear about the way that women are treated online and in the tech industry, I just find it almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's shameful.
Yeah,
terrible.
Yeah, and of course you have partnered with Katie, or Katie partnered with you. Not sure who started what, but you guys have such a great interaction. And it just, it should not matter. I mean, it's just a matter of who has the chops.
Yeah, I mean, that never, when Katie and I got started, the fact that she was a woman, it just never entered the equation.
Yeah.
We banter each other a lot in the show, but I think Katie's one of the smartest people I know.
Well, you don't even think about it in those terms.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And I'm always shocked to hear the kind of comments that come out from some people that are the target of just all sorts of abuse. And I don't get it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
And with my two daughters, I feel like I'm totally invested in this. I don't want anybody treating them like that. I want to do whatever I can to change it. So
right there
I'm
with
there.
you. Right there with you. Yeah, that's going to, it might be one of the most important sessions at the show.
Yeah, agreed.
David, is that all?
I think so. I mean, I'm going to be making the rounds at the usual parties and meals and hopefully hanging out with my buddy Chuck Joyner at some point. But in terms of the sessions I'm doing, that's all that I know of as we record this.
Well, that's going to be a bit.
Yeah, it's fun though. Like I said at the beginning, I am so ready for this.
Yeah. What, David, do you have any particular expectations of this year's show or this year's product crop?
I think I'd like to have a show where we don't have to talk about the future of Macworld anymore. And I think we finally got there. It seemed like it was always just when we first started, the first time you and I met at Macworld, it was this massive circus. And that was back in the days that Apple was there. And when Apple pulled out for several years, every year we had to hear how they aren't going to make it or they aren't going to deliver. And, Paul and Kathy and the people over there didn't, get all gloomy puss about it. They just made a great show like they always do. And it seems like everything is kind of have settled now. And it's no longer one of those things that you have to hear about all the time. In fact, I know several hardware developers that are going to be making some pretty major announcements at Macworld this year. And without Apple there, they're going to have the oxygen to get the word out with all the people collected. So I think in a lot of ways, this has been good.
I agree. And don't misunderstand. I loved the way Macworld used to be at that time. But now we don't have Steve Jobs anymore. And you just made an interesting statement. Apple did suck all the air out of the room. And yet they usually would announce one or two products, maybe some software updates. And I realize there were exceptions to that some years. But,
you mean like the iPhone?
Yeah, that was a good example. Yeah. But everybody would obsess over Apple's announcements and sort of miss all the other stuff that was on the show floor. And so without that shadow over it, a lot of the stuff on the floor from smaller developers has been allowed to bloom and get a lot more attention. And I'm with you. I'd be hard pressed to say which version I like better, but I think it's this one.
I don't know. I mean, it's a different thing than it used to be, but it's just as glorious. So if you're near San Francisco, you should go.
Yeah.
And if you're not near San Francisco, you should consider going.
Still go, yeah. Took the words right out of my mouth.
I mean, last year I met a listener of our show from Russia. I met one from Germany. I met one from Africa. This really is a gathering of the tribe. I mean, everybody from all over the world that's really passionate about this stuff, finds a few days to head to San Francisco and hang out. And we're all geeks. We just have a good time together.
David, I think that's so important. And I've said it so often. If the whole world could come to Macworld, you wouldn't have a lot of these conflicts going on, because you sit down, you have a dinner, and you have, 10 people from 7 different countries. And everybody's getting along because they have a common ground. And we all love to rib Don McAllister about his accent, and he gives us right back to us as Americans, and the way we conduct ourselves. And it's all just so good natured and so much fun. And yet you come home with a broader understanding, I think, of people all over the world, as well as a broader understanding of the tech we all love.
Amen, brother.
Thank you. All right. Well, let's see. That's 3 conference sessions. Is that right? 3 conference sessions.
Well, yeah, 3 conference sessions.
Yeah. Two Macworld stage appearances. One on the second stage. The Drobo booth. Did I get it all?
I think that's pretty much it.
When are you
Sounds like a busy few days.
Yeah. When are you going to sleep, David?
I don't sleep in Macworld. Are you crazy? Sleep's for wimps.
Yeah. Yeah. I say every year I'm going to behave myself, and I never do. I just, you're having too much fun.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I have to admit, I do okay. I find times to get rest. I've reverted to getting rooms much closer. I used to get, the cheapest room I could find, which was usually 7 or 8 blocks away. And now I get a little closer room. So if I run out of gas in the middle of the day, I can go grab a quick nap and then go back on the prowl.
On the prowl, David?
Yeah, I mean, when you're walking through those aisles in Macworld, you're on the prowl for nerdy stuff.
I know.
Every year I buy something completely ridiculous at Macworld. It always happens.
Well, we all do.
Sometimes they stick and sometimes they don't. But
yeah. Well, you have to give yourself one impulse purchase.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, at least. Well, I can't wait to see you. I can't wait to see everybody. It's we keep saying it, and it's absolutely true. It's just the best week of the year.
It certainly is, Chuck, and I'm looking forward to seeing you. As we record this, we're pretty close to the big day.
Yeah. Yeah, and as they've listened to this, it's going to be even closer. So what can I say? I'll see you there.
All right, I'm going to get back to working on these presentations.
I think that'd be a really good idea. You got enough of them.
All right. Thanks, Chuck.
Thank you, David. David and I are both going to be in San Francisco, and as you can tell, we're borderline giddy, and it's ridiculous at this age to be giddy about anything, but we are, about Macworld iWorld 2014. We hope to see you there. If you see us, please, come up, shake hands, say hello. We always appreciate seeing the viewers and listeners to our shows and just meeting new friends. Until the next time, I'm Chuck Joyner. This is MacVoices. We'll see you in San Francisco. Visit MacVoices.com for links, show notes, to subscribe, to connect with Chuck on Twitter, app.net, Google+, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Subscribe to our weekly newsletter, the MacVoices Dispatch, to stay up to date with all the latest MacVoices news from our front page or at MacVoices.com/newsletter. Advertising and sponsorships handled by Backbeat Media at BackbeatMedia.com.